What's up, everybody? It's Brandon from Box Office Banner and Cult Flick Symposium, and I'm back with another review. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Kingdom for the Planet of the Apes? Is it of? I sound like a terrible fan right now. I'm a big fan, people. Trust me, trust me. This is my third favorite fucking franchise. I want to say it's third. Haven't done my franchises in a while, but I know it's not Rocky or Friday the 13th, and this is my top five, so yeah, we'll give it third. Yeah, pretty sure it is. But I've always been a big fan of this franchise. You know, I didn't watch it from like the word go, the word jump, like where I was a little kid and I was just so invested in it from the beginning. But like teenage years onward, I was doing my rounds with like old horror movies because that's like my bread and butter, the thing I love the most. And I kind of worked my way over sci-fi horror, and then I was like, yeah, let's fucking watch these Planet of the Apes. And, you know, they were fine, but I think I was a little standoffish because, you know, when you're younger and you're bitter and you're, you know, just dumb as like a young kid, you find yourself with these things just like, well, it's not really my thing. I mean, it's okay. No, I watched it. It's okay. But then I got another round with them when I watched them with my buddy Remy, who's actually a big fan of these movies. And I found myself watching it with, you know, a diehard fan. And all of a sudden I was letting that guard down a little bit more. And I was more of an adult. And I was like, I mean, these are kind of dope. Yeah, I got fucking hooked, man. And this new movie, I had like no fucking, you know, trepidation for it. I had a feeling this would be fucking dope. I just could feel it. I mean, maybe it's because these movies don't strike out. I mean, I forget the names of certain movies within this franchise, at least the older ones. I forget which one's which, and that already sounds like I'm not a big fan. But like, I know, you know, the placement and when they happen. Like, I know the fifth Planet of the Apes movie. Forget what that one's called exactly, but it wasn't that good. I got a little somewhat nostalgia from it, you know, because I did watch it in my teens and my early 20s, you know. I've been watching it for over like 10 years, and I have just like, you know, good vibes while I'm watching it, but overall it's not that good of a movie in comparison to the first four. And the Mark Wahlberg one, there was some real low lows in that movie. There's a few like kind of highs to me, but overall I don't think it's as bad as people say, but it's still not a good movie, make no mistake. So overall, the track record here, 7 out of 9 movies, just absolutely wonderful. How would this one fare? This one is dope. And I think it can be doper. Let me explain. This one, honestly, how dope it's going to be, and it actually probably maybe even could fall off a little bit, as weird as it sounds, is going to be left up to what they do with, you know, the succumbing sequels. Because obviously they're going to do a second and third one of this, unless it completely flops. I haven't looked at the box office numbers. I know it's supposed to be box office Brandon, even though I don't really pay attention to that shit. It just happens to be a title. It sounded cool, people. But it just, unless it completely flops, there's no way it's going to. It definitely, they're pushing forward with something here. I won't say what or anything like that, but you already kind of knew that coming in. They're going to have sequels to Planet of the Apes. They're not going to end it at just one unless it's an absolute travesty. This will not be that. There's no way. And I think it's going to depend on how good it is, even though it's separate movies talking about, you know, maybe if they have a second or a third one, you know, it's because this movie just like lays a foundation. Yes, there's a story here and things of that nature that make it just really good on its own merits. But this one is setting up a lot of different shit, it feels like, to like just to this movie's fucking credit. Let's just say that much. I almost said detriment, which is like what the complete opposite direction, Brandon. But to this movie's credit, one thing I think you cannot deny, because I've seen some mixed reviews about this one, but overall, high praise, but there's a few little in there, you know, like not enough happened or whatever the fuck. I'm just random examples, you know. If you don't want to hear, you know, other people talk about this movie, you clicked on it to hear me, appreciate it. But you didn't want to hear other people. That's not even an actual example of what somebody said. I'm throwing out, you know, the bitches and bitchiness of people that can't get into movies for whatever reason, just as a random one-off. That's why I said there. Not enough happens. But what I'm getting at is there's definitely something to this movie where you got to at least admit that when you walk away from the theater, you're wondering like, okay, well, how is this going to set up? And I think that's definitely going to happen. Is this going to tie into this? And if that ties into that, that's going to be crazy. This is a movie you walk out of with your friends, especially if they're fellow Planet of the Apes fans, and you're really like, you're in it. You know, it's kind of similar to like a great TV show you're watching. You know, a lot of movies, they end and people don't like cliffhangers, right? So a lot of times when a movie ends, you're like, oh, I bet that'd be cool in the second one, and then it's over. this is one of those rare movies that I think does have that TV show effect where they can leave you, not necessarily with a cliffhanger, I'm not even saying that, but it has the same, if it's not a cliffhanger, it has the exact same impact of a cliffhanger to where you were like, oh shit, like, where's that gonna go? And what are they gonna do with this? And I bet that'll be fucking cool. And then they'll bring in this. And, you know, like, you have the power to do that when you know you're gonna have sequels. A lot of movies are just standalones if they do good enough. You know, we'll see. You got to tease something, and they know they have that, and they know they got what to, they know they got what they got to get our butts in the fucking seats. So they play with us a little bit, and that's the biggest thing I can say about this movie is it will get you talking when the movie's over. If you're a fan of this franchise and wondering exactly what it's going to do, where it's going, and if, just a whole lot of that, much like a TV show where you have a cliffhanger and you're like, oh my God, next week, what do you think? And the episode's on. It's going to be a longer wait because it's movies, but you will get enough from this movie, I think. Maybe there's some people I think that were probably going to be like, okay, well, maybe I would want more and more of this because it's a lot of buildup, but don't listen to that either because there's definitely some action. There's definitely some moments here, but the number one overarching thing is that this movie is setting up shit. And in setting up shit, if they nail the setups and nail different things, it will only bleed back into this movie where I think you will love it even more. That is why it will accomplish so much as a predecessor to an even higher degree, in my opinion. So while I got it, I'll say the score 8.7. This could definitely jump into the 9s going forward if the sequels nail, because I think it's really going to uplift just, you know, the trilogy as a whole or whatever they do. So we'll see, you know, pending. That's not necessarily my final rating. Characters-wise, everybody's fucking solid here. I will say they're not quite as great as the prequel or, you know, the prequels. It just isn't quite on that level. But at the same time, though, they're not bad. And I want to say Noah, man, like, at the end of the day, I think I did, the more I thought about it, grow to love him as the movie went on. But he just didn't quite have the impact Caesar did. But, I mean, that's a lot, you know, some shoes to fill. But I think we're going to grow in to loving his character again in the second and third one. That's why this is one of those rare movies that I think really how I'm going to feel about it is really dependent on the other movies. I can't quit harping on that because it's so fucking true. But again, people, I think you'll enjoy it for what it is as well. I will say the lead actress in the movie, you know, she has her moments. You know, she's also playing this like primitive being because it's pretty much like going full circle. Because, you know, of course, if you don't understand the timeline, we're talking Planet of the Apes, the originals are here. We basically do a backflip over to here to go to the prequels because Planet of the Apes in 1968, is that the year it came out? Nope. Almost want to say that's right. But that's in the future. So now we did the prequels and now we're here in the middle and we're kind of working our way back, which makes you wonder, like, are we going to make our way all the way back to the beginning? I don't know. Does it reveal that in the movie? I don't know. Not going to tell you. But definitely interesting talking pieces, right? More to go with what I was just harping on. But the thing is like, I think this movie really let's talk about the girl. I don't want to get too far away from her, and then I'll jump back into that real quick. But the girl in the movie and the humans in the movie, I think it does boost a little bit in a sense from like the nostalgia factor of feeling like the original again, because we get to see these humans and they're like more primitive nature. We get to see like the apes. You see this in the trailer, walking across the sand and things of that nature. So that's really, really fucking cool. And I think that gives this movie a leg up in that regard. It's something we haven't seen from the Apes franchise really in some time, excluding the remake, but a lot of people want to just exclude that from it entirely. You know, something that feels like that will be in canon that I think everybody will watch and or at least not skip over. And that's the fun part of it. But the actress in the movie, a lot of what she did in the movie, like her personality and things like that, like were just very, it seemed like every emotion she had, she just like left her mouth agape and they put like some teardrops in her eyes. I noticed that after a while to where it just got to the point where it kind of like bothered me. Like she was fine in some scenes. I think she can be good, but it kind of felt like one trick pony. I'm so sad with my mouth agape all the time. Like it got a little old after a while, but overall her character, you know, pending. We'll see about her too. Again, so much pending with this movie and how great it can be, even though it's its own property as of now. Yeah. And then what was I going to talk about with the apes and shit, like the apes and shit. I don't know. Whatever I did that like backflip reference and we're making our way back. But the point is, people, either way, this movie is just, it's really fucking good. And the themes and things it's setting up are really great. And we will see, man. We will see. That's the biggest thing I could say about this. I think if you're an Apes fan, you're gonna fucking like love it. The story's really good. There's some really good action sequences when they do pop off, but it's all, it's the bridge movie. It's setting things up, and it does that very, very masterfully. And we'll see how many of these they do too. Like, I mean, I'm excited as a Planet of the Apes fan. I'm definitely excited. I definitely want to see where this goes. This is some cool shit, man. Yeah, can't remember what I was gonna say in the middle there, so maybe we'll talk about it in the comments because it'll probably come back to me as soon as I exit up out of this bitch. But yeah, I don't think it was that big, anyways. But either way, guys, I love you. Don't really honestly have much to say because it really is, man. As much as like the action was cool, characters were good, I more or less like this is more probably a spoiler review. Should have been, but I don't do spoiler reviews. But this is one to talk about with your friends. You definitely want to get to this one if you're a Planet of the Apes fan. It's on point. Love you guys. Peace.